dogging each other. No
Just
pun
making
intended.
sure.
There you go.
Cheers.
Well, what's up, boys?
Cheers, boys.
Here we are.
All right.
Oh, I gotta read.
Titski.
Titski. World's quickest podcast setup.
Yeah.
We
It's
took
quite
a
surprising.
we took a page out of the Seeger boys book because it was so cold. We had to make a fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And these fires are these woods are burning up quick, so we gotta keep throwing logs on the fire sooner or later. We're gonna have to make a little pivot, if you will.
I not only got the suitcase, I'm right in the line of smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
no.
got shades on though.
Perfect.
yeah,
How we look now?
I'm gonna have to
We
have
look
shades
good.
on.
We're rolling. Oh, I feel it on my lower back. I feel the wind on my lower back.
You got a tramp stamp back there?
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be blue.
Where are we? Where the hell are we?
We're in Big Bear.
Big Bear Mountain.
Has it been an adventure of all adventures?
Oh my God, this has been quite the 2-day excursion.
It's a 2-hour drive from LA, and I think it took us 15 hours to get here, and a
Because-
total of 500 miles.
Because you went where before this?
should I paint the picture a little?
Yeah, paint the
Paint it,
picture.
yeah.
So we're doing a little video campaign with my good pals Connor and Tanner, Robbie's good pals as well. And the umbrella of the skits, or vignettes as we've been calling them, are funny things that happen along a camping trip. And so us living in Los Angeles tried to really cut some corners and find the nearest mountain.
I sent like 5 campsites to these dudes on, what was it, Monday night? And they're like, you know what, let's just figure it out when we get there. Let's just drive up to the mountains. It's bound to be somewhere.
By the way, we've had like, what, 2.5 months to figure this
Oh,
out?
yeah.
Yeah.
The initial concept was like end of August. And we're like, it's way down the road. We'll get around to it.
Now we're just freezing our dicks off.
Sometimes that's the best, though. You put together a whole game plan and then just see what happens.
Yeah, yesterday didn't seem to be proving so, but I think when we started, winging it helps with just a small structure around it, but we winged it hard with no structure.
Is it wung it or winged it?
We wanged it.
We winged it. So yeah, to continue, we chose Angeles National Forest, which is the mountain range in Los Angeles.
Beautiful, though.
Stunning, very beautiful.
Deserves its fair
It's
shake.
flowers. But there was a number of things, whether it was firewood. What else did we need?
Cell service to get a hold of Robbie. We're up there. We're like, dude, he could be 10 minutes behind us. He could be, water.
Food.
Water, food.
It was that desolate up
And,
there.
and,
we
this,
had nothing.
and you can't see it right now. We have like the most pimped out van, and we couldn't figure out a thing about
A
it.
Oh, yeah.
Mercedes Sprinter.
We have
Yeah.
a Mercedes Sprinter. Shout out D-Mac.
Was this a trip around things that go wrong on a camp trip or things that happen to first-time campers?
No,
It turned out to be like ironically.
It was a
it's
documentary.
self-fulfilling.
Yeah, yeah,
it's a
yeah.
documentary.
Yeah.
We almost decided to just put the camera on us. But no, we got up to the top of the mountain and we realized, wow, there's no civilization for an hour and there's no cell service. We found one guy camping in the mountains up there and it seemed like he just lived up there because we were like, where's the nearest?
It's like, left the wife and dog at home. Can I pet your dog? Yeah, you can pet my dog. He goes over, hey, Mrs. Doggy. What's going on, man? He's like, I can help you start a fire if you want. I'm like, dude, you gotta help us find.
We gotta get
you
out
gotta,
of here.
You got a, what are those phones called? You got a satellite phone? We gotta make some calls. I got SOS on my phone. I'm like, does that mean I can make one call? Connor's like, you can call 911. Maybe we should.
But so we got up there and we're kind of looking around. There's some beautiful like little spots and scenery, but we were definitely unprepared. We couldn't even get the van to work.
There's Wi-Fi in it. We
There's
couldn't fix- we
Wi-Fi.
couldn't set it
Couldn't
up.
figure that out. There's a generator to plug things in. Nope. A heater. Nope. Cell service.
Other than that, it was great.
Other than that,
we sat there for 40 minutes being like, should we start shooting something? Connor's like, none of the mics work. It's like everything was falling apart. We were like,
I
we don't have
know,
any food.
dude. I set you up for failure, Con. My bad.
No.
Connor's like, I'm getting a little peckish. We can figure out, like, Tanner, you want to send Lou out to go hunt down some
Some raccoons.
some rabbits for us?
Some raccoons.
Yeah, so then basically about an hour later, where were we? We were inside the Starbucks of Target.
of Target.
Getting hot cocos and pumpkin spice lattes. And if
I
that isn't the
for
most-
one didn't have any
If
of
that
that.
isn't the most LA camping trip experience you've ever heard, then
Can't touch the seed oils, bro.
I don't know what to tell you. But we did make it somewhere
It was
last
so.
night.
it
Right
was-
here, actually.
Yeah.
Right here.
So this was your spot, and it was
This
ass
is our
cold.
spot. It was about 15 degrees cooler than we had planned.
About 34 degrees last night.
We didn't bring any jacket. Like this
No,
was
no.
the
I'm the only one who brought a
worst.
jacket. Everyone's wearing my jacket. We're
This is
either
the
wearing Wilbur or
worst.
wearing my jackets.
The worst like but we were like method acting. We like immersed ourselves in
Our
like,
characters had to have no clue how to camp, and then we all, and especially me, like I'm like supposed to be the designated camper. I decided that all of us have associated the responsibilities to the other one, and it was just like a circle of like, Connor, where is it? Will, where is it? Tanner, where is it?
I asked you first.
I asked Connor. It was pathetic.
But thankfully, we were very persistent and drove back down the mountain of Angeles, like Connor was saying. Ended up at a Target, ended up at an REI, tried to kill some time to skip some traffic, and just beelined for Big Bear. And
Found the campsite on the way.
but before we found it, we had to go up Rainbow Road with no lights. I felt like I was playing a Formula One video
White
game.
knuckling
So
it. Huh?
Everything's just sliding all over the fucking van.
Yeah.
It was insane.
Dude, the shocks on that thing suck too. So whoever's in the back seat hits their head on the ceiling.
Yeah, dude, it was insane. I mean, everything started sliding. Here, all of the beers that we have in the fridge just colliding into each other. It was, and Connor's trying to hold fucking drawers shut.
Oh, and we have a dog.
Yeah, we got Louie in the car.
I was just
like,
about to say, can I bring Lieutenant over here?
Yeah, go grab
We
her.
probably should.
She deserves it. She's been in everything. Watch the headphones.
I'll do it. Forgot about that.
Like everyone listening to this is gonna be like these fucking bitches.
Yeah, but we had a
sprinter with the
Yeah.
beers
Yeah.
flying around the
Yeah.
cooler.
These poor
know what?
kids.
Hey, Louie.
You're right. Maybe we are.
You want to come right here, honey? You getting in? All right, this is Louie, everybody.
Hi,
She's our
Louie.
camping dog. She's probably the only one who's fit to be out here.
Yeah, she's actually been the one with the most knowledge.
She took the most responsibility.
But yeah, so what was supposed to be a 2-day project turned into a 1-day project where we had to really knock some stuff out. But we got some really good stuff today. I'm really excited to see it kind of come together. Really fun storytelling component. It's always fun when you can add a little bit of comic relief, especially when it comes to marketing and branding. Gets a little benign and boring after a while. So to spice it up and do some funny scenes.
Yeah, we wrapped right into like what was really going on. So
Yeah,
the
it
whole
was
character,
perfect.
which anyone who's out there watching this, being like, look at these fucking noobs that don't know how to camp.
Well, I
The whole
love.
point of it is we don't know how to camp, and that's what we're sharing.
We're
with you.
leaning in,
Maverick does technically mean that you're probably proficient in the mountain,
if not better.
but we are the what would it be?
What's the
What would be another
antonym of?
a maverick?
Yeah,
The
maybe just a novice. We'll go
the
with novice
of
for
the
now.
mountains.
Novice of the mountain.
Well, I do have to say I give Connor a lot of credit because he was a proponent for going all the way in. He's like, dude, let's put fake shit on the sock.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Or-
was
no,
insane,
not even
dude.
fake shit. Let's put real shit on.
There was a good
You wanna
doggy.
go,
There was
you
a
wanna
doggy
go
dump.
75%. I'm trying to take us to 100.
Yeah.
Let's lean in.
Just like
Lean
Christopher
in.
Nolan, there's no. You
gotta
can
go all
crash
the
a
way.
plane into an airport. We can put real shit on the
Did he
sock,
actually do that?
You're trying to sell
He did.
clothes though. These are
Which movie?
Fucking
In
Willow socks.
Tenet, I didn't actually see it.
I haven't
but
seen it either.
Yeah, he did crash a real plane into a real airport.
Who the fuck does he think he is?
Who do you think you are? I am.
Who do you think you're? I am. Yeah, fucking crap. We were doing this whole scene earlier where the joke is. Hope this comes out after you guys will watch it. But the whole joke is that like I go to go drop a deuce and there's no toilet paper. I'm locked out of the bathroom and I'm like, where do I go? I go behind a rock. I use my sock. These guys see a piece of dog shit laying around. They're like, oh my God, it's like kismet. Let's take it. Let's wipe it on the sock. Let's throw it up and let's throw it in the air. Let's see the poop flop down. It's going to be great. I'm like, dude, you guys are nuts. It's the most ridiculous thing ever. It says Wilbo on the socks and we're trying to sell these socks and there's poo on it.
You could have just
It was actually a one-of-one auction opportunity.
it was.
For the poo sock?
All proceeds
Frame
go to
it.
charity. Framed, yep.
Frame
Just like the
like-
trucks, right?
Yeah, just like the
Yeah,
trucks.
that's
150
hilarious.
Yeah.
raffle
Yeah.
tickets.
$150 raffle ticket.
Yeah.
Poop sock.
Poop sock from
Me first
Tanner.
dollar.
Tanner
Not
was,
my dump.
Tanner was sitting there in his boxers like, guys, are we fucking kidding?
Yeah, it's so funny.
What are
Like,
you talking
I'm
about?
telling the guys who own the brand, like, I don't think having poop on your product is a good idea.
Why not? Please educate.
It's so good.
Educate
But
why?
all in all, it's been a success for you boys today, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, today went great. For how bad I mean, like I said, we had our backs against the wall. There was no going backwards in how bad yesterday went. We didn't get a single. I don't think we pulled out the camera.
I
know we did.
We
tried
didn't hit
to.
record.
We tried to for the fucking. We tried to get a fire scene at night where I'm sitting there playing fucking campfire tunes, and we were like, let's get a videotape of that. Not enough light. Connor sitting there like, my hands, I can't. My hands aren't working. I'm having carpal tunnel.
And then
And to top it off, the fucking rest of the night, these guys didn't bring a jacket. And we're like, all right, let's just call it. Let's play some poker in the van. We get in the van. Connor's like, no way, I'm going to sleep. I'm like, okay, I guess everyone's not playing poker. I'm like, I turn to him, he's asleep in my fucking puffer jacket, and takes all the blankets with him. So I'm upstairs, I'm on the top bunk of this beautiful van, and he's like, here you go. It's like one of those top covers
It's literally a top sheet.
It's like, a top sheet for
you have to like climb into.
You should have put your feet in the little bungee at the
I
end.
did. I got whole bungeed up, bro. I look like a ghost. And I'm sitting in this top sheet, and I'm sitting there shivering with his like makeshift. You got a birthday present for your dad. That's like this, supposed to be a sleeping bag, but it's just
It's like a sleeping bag cover.
Yeah, it's awful.
I can't even like climb.
And I'm sitting
into
up there, shivering my dick off, and I wake up in the morning, and I'm like, "How's your sleep, guys?" And I'm like, I check my Whoop strap, didn't get good sleep.
Oh,
and I'm like, "What are you gonna do?"
Whoop plug right there.
I was waking up all night.
It's a shame too because I was kind of hot.
Yeah, exactly. Connor wakes up, he goes, "Got a little hot in here last
was
night, huh? I had to
sweating,
take off your puffers, man." I'm literally up there fucking
Freezing my socks off too.
How dare you?
So
I thought
good.
I didn't even bring sweatpants. I thought I was sleeping in canvas
to be
pants.
honest, I just kind of been wearing the same outfit for 48 hours. But to wrap it up even more so, there was also a funny moment when your girlfriend called you. I was like, "Hey, honey, how's everything going?" You're like, "We haven't shot shit. This is a disaster."
She's supposed to be here. She's supposed to be a part of this, but she got busy.
Shout out Mars. We love
Shout out
Mars.
so long. But she calls him like, well, she's like, "What do you guys do? You guys shoot all day? Heading back to LA?" I'm like, "Well, we are headed back to LA. We shot nothing." It was so sad when I pull in my map. I'm like, "We got to be far from home. We've been in the car all day." I look at it, we're 20 minutes away from my house
Yeah, we're
in
like,
Burbank.
the nearest town is Arcadia. Like,
Yeah,
where is that? We're like, "Oh, that's just North Pasadena."
Oh my god, it was yesterday. To wrap it up, yesterday was an unbelievable mess.
Well, I can't wait to see it.
But
it's gonna be rad.
Yeah.
You're not seeing anything. The camera never got pulled out.
Yeah, but the good news is it was like, I was saying last night, I was like, we're going to look back on this 5 years from now and just remember like how funny it was to be a part of it. And we got some good stuff today, so.
You know that guy Steven Ranella? You guys ever watch
Man Eater or Meat Eater?
Man Eater?
Man Eater.
It's a different,
Good
actually. It's a
stuff.
different
First
show.
time camper over here.
No, it's Man Eater's actually a different one. It's a little more,
So I got the
little
shades
more
on, by the
risque.
way. Also, Tanner's glasses, Ember blockers.
Amber blockers.
I know,
But
Will and I
yeah,
are in the line.
But Steven Ranella has this quote. There he goes, like, the highest form of fun are things that fucking suck while you do them, and then you and your boys get to bond over the suffering you went through.
Yeah.
I mean, yesterday wasn't suffering, but safe to say it wasn't like an eventful day. But it's gonna, like you said, we're gonna be looking back on that, hopefully laughing.
It was a blast. Hey, I will say the bologna sandwich that you put in the fire is really some embers here. We didn't even have kindling, and you put in a fucking bologna sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He dropped on the ground
I
and brought
dropped
with
on
him.
the ground. It was this $15 sandwich from this beautiful deli in, where were we?
Glendale.
Glendale.
We never left LA. We didn't leave LA County.
Yeah, and I'm eating it, and Tanner comes to sit in. I'm like, "Hey, let me scoot over," and the full sandwich just goes flop.
Face first down.
And I save it, and everyone's like, "What are you doing?" That was just literally face down on the asphalt. And now it's our fire.
He's like,
starter.
it actually landed on a lot of lettuce. I think most of the lettuce took the brunt of this one.
There's some good meats on there. There's
Yeah,
like
we got
ham.
sopressata. We got expensive cured meats on this bitch. We can't be letting that go.
Cured meats.
Cured meats, man. That should be the name of this group. We're the cured meats. We take a while to get good, but eventually, after a while, and if you salt it and dry it out long enough, eventually they become competent.
I love it, boys. Well, I guess shifting gears a little bit, Will and I figured it'd be perfect to just parlay your guys' video shoot up here and do a little podcast because, one, you wrote it, produced it, directed it, shot it, small little team, engine that could, but your guys' self-proclaimed titles, Tanner, you're actor,
Tanner's
you're a
Zagarino.
writer, producer, actor, writer.
Just keep going. Keep naming.
Keep going.
Bungee
Send 'em-
jumper.
Bungee
Ex
jumper.
wrestler. You wrestled
Nudist.
And then Con, you're directing, you're creative directing, DP,
Maybe a bit of
Co-writer
everything.
as well.
bit of everything.
We
Yeah, a
all.
little
I
bit
mean,
of everything.
there's no labels when it
Artists.
comes to the way we do things. It's a real egalitarian thing. I trade to you, you trade to me. We figure it all out.
You kind of have to be a jackknife these days in LA, huh?
Yeah, man. Especially when you want to make your own stuff. It's easy for us because I mean Connor doesn't act much. We're gonna get him in front of the camera sooner or later. We're gonna
no
get him.
shot.
We're gonna let him do his thing every once in a while. He's got a character in there. He's dying to get out. You feel it bubbling up sometimes when he gets a little drunky. It's a mean character if
Yeah,
you're
you might
curious.
see it.
He's not- that character isn't nice.
He'd
It's like, have you
be-
ever seen There Will Be Blood? That's the character Connor's got inside him.
I'll take it.
Yeah, it's a great movie, Daniel Day-Lewis. But Yeah, so we write these things, and Connor's always like, all right, let's make it funny. Tanner, let's just throw you in there. And like I end up playing every character. We've done, what, Connor, like probably 10 projects together now, something like that.
Yeah, almost.
Yeah, we've done a lot together, and every time it's like, all right, Tanner, we're going to have you play every character. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. So it's fun. We have a really good process of just like, you know, just like you said, like a jackknife, like a multi-tool. We got everything going on. And
Big production team.
It's really fun, man. It's fun being able to be in an environment with a bunch of buddies where you get to just, especially when it comes to like improv and everyone's just getting really excited. And if you don't get a laugh, you know, it doesn't hurt that bad because they never really laugh. But every once in a while you like strike gold and like, all right, let's keep going, Like today was when we got the ball rolling today, I think it was a blast. And I hope you guys like it. We had a really fun time shooting that.
Yeah, we cranked it at 7:30 a.m. and we knew we had our backs against the wall, so we're like, let's fire up.
Yeah, we wake up this morning, Connor's like letting Lou out of the van door, and he's like, all right, Tanner, wake up. I'm hot. I'm like sitting up there fucking freezing. Dog goes blasting down the campground. And then we shot a fun one this morning, and then we just, from then on out,
it kind of set the tone. It was a good tone set for us.
I mean, from what I rolled into, it looked like the boys were firing on all cylinders, so.
Yeah. No, but
imagine you came yesterday. You should have seen us. You should have seen us. We were in Target, and I see Will, and Will's just like, we're like, we got to get moving. We got to find a campground. Will's just sitting there just tossing a ball up in the air.
You get the balls, and you start dribbling.
And I was like, that literally is
riding
like
a little
what we've been doing this
tricycle.
whole time. Just like twiddling our thumbs. Like, I wonder when it's going to become a campground. When it's going to like fucking materialize in front of us.
So good. But no, from my perspective, I obviously live with Connor. We went to UCLA together, grew up together in high school. Tanner came along, how long have we known each other now? 3-4 years?
Yeah, 3-4 years. Man, that's sad.
That's wild.
Time's
but
flying.
It's always been fun to be a fly on the wall. You guys have done some really, really cool projects. Lyric and CL was an awesome one. My favorite
insane.
Character of Tanner's, Vinny Mancuso. Check that out with Spartan Dagenhurst. Really fun project. But I knew there was just going to come a time where it was going to make sense for us to do a project together.
Yeah, you called me like midsummer, just like super stoked about this. You're like, dude, the time has come. We're all gonna mend and do it together. And Connor, what do you think, man? How do you feel about?
I'm just trying to get me to talk right
now. Say something, bro.
Man, a few words.
When you get that little word, that little thing in the back of your head, you're like, I think you may have said every word.
If Connor had 4 more Modelo's, then his character would come out.
Yeah, well,
start drilling
or
for oil.
20 more degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah. A little warmth. Well, the fire's getting there now.
Throw another log on.
We've learned. Well, I've learned today that it's not the wood, really, that keeps it warm. It's the what, Tanner?
It's the embers. And I think it's kind of a metaphor what's been going on this time. We thought the wood was going to be the planning. It turns out the embers is our creative spirit. Yeah, that's how we keep the fire going.
This is so podcast. It's
I'm not sure.
Some deeper meaning. Embers.
Yeah, you can just cut that out.
I like that one. Don't cut that out. Well, today went really fucking well. We went to a sweet little diner this morning. Big Bear's rules. I don't know where the mountain is. I know people. I've never gone snowboarding or skiing up here. I haven't seen a mountain. I've only seen a lake.
Yeah. No, I guess.
I know that sounds dumb. We didn't drive past those. It was nighttime. I've never seen the mountains that people ski on in Big Bear.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to point it out. I don't even know.
The lake's so small you can drive around it in about 25 minutes.
We did.
Yeah, super sweet.
Oh, we did.
A number of times. Scouting.
Yeah.
No,
called scouting.
I think a good kind of segue here is, we obviously mentioned the world of LA a bit, but let's dive in. Obviously, Tanner being an actor, the strike just happened. You were kind of just...
Strike's still happening, man.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Dude, we stand in solidarity for this Screen Actors Guild.
And even you, Connor, like the landscape of just... film and that whole industry is so interesting right now. It's fun to watch you kind of maneuver through it. You've done music stuff, touring with artists. You've done music videos. You've done little campaigns with brands. But like, I always ask you, I'm like, what's your be all end all, or what's like your North Star in terms of career wise? I'm not going to ask that question. Don't worry. But I would
just ask that question, Connor.
Yeah, I actually asked that.
I think an answer for it.
You don't have a North Star, bro. You don't.
But I think more just short term. You're obviously just taking on these really fun projects that inspire you.
Yeah. I mean, so I started doing surf. Well, I'm not going to tell the full story. If you want to hear the full story, you can head over to... Is that podcast still live?
It's still live.
Okay.
It still rips, actually.
There's a ripping podcast we did a few years back that has the full story. But essentially, I used to tour a lot and go on music tours with artists and shoot photos and videos. Got amazing opportunities to do that with various artists. Traveled the world. It was such a blast.
Big names. Big names. Conner came out of the fucking. I have to give him his flowers. He got shot out of the cannon early. He's like a teenager working like creative directing and shooting for Sean, and then became a creative director.
Yeah,
Shawn Mendes,
how old
that
were
is.
you? 15 or 16? When you started?
Well, I started when I was like, my first creative directing
He
gig
looked
was
12.
with this guy.
So let's think about it. Like he was a 12-year-old when he was working.
I was 18 and I started working for this guy, Frank Walker, who's still like a super close friend of mine, DJ, producer. And then kind of moved over, got the opportunity to work with Shawn Mendes and his amazing team. Shot with him for quite a while, and I just think because we were, similar age, like just got along well. He kind of trusted me, and it just, sort of asked me here and there what I thought about this and what I thought about that. But I was never really involved as like a proper creative director until his last album. We got to collaborate on that, and that was a big step in my career. Kind of got thrown in the deep end a bit.
How long have you been working with Sean for now?
Since 2018, so yeah, just over 5 years. Damn. Or almost 5 years.
And how old are you?
I'm 24. So I was 19.
That's huge, man. You got to take.
No, thanks. Yeah,
that's crazy, man.
It's amazing.
Despite how much it doesn't seem like it, but you're very talented.
But anyways, what I was kind of like getting to is after touring for a long time, it kind of like shooting concerts is, it's fun. You get to travel, but unless you really love it, it's kind of the same thing every time. And I started getting a little bit like creatively exhausted by it, took a break. And now sort of just with the opportunity of like, the commercial space kind of slowing down, I was kind of just sitting around for a month or two, just sort of like gauging my interests on this and that, updating my website, doing everything I could to stay busy, but got the offer to start touring again with this artist Niall Horan, who's a good friend of mine. I'd done a few things for him this year, did like one of his music videos and album trailer or tour trailer. But yeah, I've started touring with him again and started shooting like kind of these more like hands-on smaller projects, which I hadn't done in a long time. And I think it really made me understand that it's more fun. It is
like
more
having
fun.
creative control?
It's just more fun to do it with your friends and like kind of make shift the whole thing. And whether you have a massive budget or a small budget, I just think being hands-on in general is like always a bit more fun.
Yeah.
And I think it's no different with this.
With those smaller projects and you kind of resonating with them more than other commercial work, would you say that your work has been better?
It's a tough question because
He doesn't want to call out the brands he felt like he didn't do good work for.
Right.
no, I mean, I think I don't think I'm doing better or worse. I think I'm just doing different stuff, right? So like,
Apples and oranges.
yeah, it's like you have to get more creative because when you have a big budget and you're like, I want to do this crazy crane camera move, you just 10 guys are on it doing it by the time you like, put it into motion. And this is sort of like, okay, well, we can't do this and that, but maybe we can make shift this, change that so that it works for our purposes here. I don't know. I think like the smaller aspect allows you to move on the fly as well. So you can sort of like change your mind. And if you show up somewhere and it's not working, you can just move the camera around until you find it. And I don't think you can't really do that as much. Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's not shot listed out, you feel like you have a lot more control.
Yeah.
I mean, you shot list out your smaller budget stuff, but when it comes to like this stuff, you must feel like
The no budget stuff.
yeah, I mean, truly, like when you feel like it's just you and your friends puttering around. I mean, I'm speaking for Conner, but I know we've done this before, and I've been with him on things that it's much more like we got to get this shot done by now. I've had times where it's like it's my time for my coverage. He's like, we're on our last roll of film, and we need to get this now. And that moment is like those moments don't really facilitate as much creative. Just like looseness and like creates like that environment that makes everyone feel like there's like no stakes, we're just having fun, and that kind of creates the best art, I think. But regardless, like you're going to be under the gun sometimes too.
Yeah. No, it seems like obviously it's apples and oranges, like you say. There's, pros and cons to both. But with, some of your newer work, there's an element of storytelling and script writing, and it almost opened this new facet for you. And that's kind of where Tanner comes along, and where your relationship, both friendship-wise and career-wise, really blossomed. Is Tanner's an excellent writer. Conner, you're on the way too as well with script writing, and you guys have worked together on that. But it just gives you a new freedom, like you say, to tell stories, and that's something that we love at Wilbo, and so that's where the organic kind of come together moment was. But Tanner, for you, obviously, great actor. I love all your stuff. I know you're gonna pop very soon, but you also have this amazing skill of just storytelling, both script writing, humor, incorporating all of it. And you're starting to lean into that as well. You wrote a script recently. Tell me about how that even came about. Like, where in your childhood did you fall in love with, storytelling?
Man, the term storytelling, it's just so funny. I appreciate you guys saying that. It's really kind. But like this term storytelling, I don't know why. Like, it's like, I guess it just happens in every day. I feel like everybody, it's like cliche to say, like, storytelling is like, I don't know. For me, I guess acting is an aspect of storytelling. My father and mother were both actors. So it was always, but I didn't grow up in LA. So I was born in LA. Both my parents were actors, and then we moved, they both quit acting, moved to the North Fork of Long Island. I was raised in like suburbia. And my dad had started an acting class when I was young, so I was kind of like raised around acting when he was doing that acting class. But it wasn't really, it was just always like a career option for me. It wasn't ever seeming like it was unattainable. I mean, when you grow up in LA, I imagine for you guys who are like peripheral to LA, like Laguna, you like see the film industry and you see like the arts industry, and it doesn't feel like it's like something that's, just like so distant and far away and like unattainable. And Long Island, the only people I really had is like I guess New York City I was far away from New York City. I was raised like 2 hours outside. So the only people I had that was close to me that ever like pursued the arts were my parents. And they quit. So it was something that I as a young man, like just got into film. I had a couple friends in high school, and I had my parents as a good example of like it can happen and it is a thing. But realistically, like when I was young in high school, I took a film class, or like a TV production class, and me and my buddy Carter and Michael would just make these short films and try to like, we just became like super cinephiles. They worked at the local movie theater, and my best friend James worked there, and my brother worked there, and I would just be at the movie theater every single day, running around like trying to like get in for free, being a little fucking hoodlum.
Do you remember in those early years, were you studying film? Were you taking notes and really trying to process it?
I think I was more studying acting. I always just like really, the craft of it all was just so fascinating for me. I remember like probably the biggest one was like, my dad showed me like Goodfellas. That's so cliche, but yeah, my dad showed me Goodfellas when I was like too young, like 12, and he was like, "This is acting. Sit down and watch this." And from then on, it was just like it was something that I always I was so enamored with someone who can express themselves so fully within a different character and like show such like aspects of themselves, and the humor, the improv. Like even Judd Apatow was so huge for us growing up. I imagine you guys too, like Knocked Up, Superbad, 40-Year-Old Virgin, like those movies coming out, and then like it was. So when I was young, I think I more studied like the art of acting. That was really what was, interesting me at that time. And then as I got older, and I wrestled growing up too. That was my main thing. Like film was like a hobby of mine, and the TV production class was fun, so we could just make little skits. But sports was my life, and until it wasn't. It's like, when we all played
We've
sports.
bonded on that.
Yeah.
We've bonded on that.
So wrestling was my life. I started wrestling in second grade. My dad was a great wrestler, and then I just all my best friend wrestling. We had like a team of like this, like, it's crazy. Like we had a team growing up where all 15 of us all wrestled from second grade to senior year, and 4 of us went to college, Division I to wrestle.
Wow.
It was insane, and we had like a crazy like culture of wrestling in our community because a bunch of dads like coincidentally wrestled. And that was my life, So I wrestled all through high school, traveling, wrestling, private, off-season wrestling, and our program was so good. And then I didn't really think about film again until college came around. I was like, all right, I want to keep wrestling. And I went to the University of Pittsburgh, and I was like, okay, now I need to figure out what I want to do. And I'm looking at like business classes, I'm taking math classes, and I'm just bombing. Like I couldn't pass college algebra. I didn't pass college algebra.
You can't.
I didn't take
naked
a
choke.
single college math class because I
That shit
did
is-
everything to avoid it.
It's like it was ridiculous how bad I was at that shit. So I was like, okay, so now I get to, you love film. Your dad was an actor. You've always wanted to be an actor. Let's go to theater. Let's start the theater program. And so I was like juxtaposing wrestling. I was wrestling at the University of Pittsburgh, and I was also in the theater program at the University of Pittsburgh, which is like, talk about two different worlds.
Yeah,
I'm walking from a theater class where I just got lectured to on.
You're a real theater jock.
Yeah. I mean, I just got lectured to in theater class about how I'm, you're problematic, Tanner, but we think you can get better. Just read this book, and it's like a socialist manifesto. No, it's but I really, and then I go to wrestling practice, and they're like, "What are you doing? Playing make believe, dude?
Is that makeup on your face?
Is that No, it's nothing. It's soot. I was working with iron.
They put your spandex on and just have you like wrestle men.
My singlet, brother.
Sorry, singlet. There you go.
Singlet,
That's a
bro.
new vocab word for me today.
Thank you. Singlet is
Singlet?
the leotard style thing we wear when we wrestle. But then I was wrestling, and I was around guys who were en route to becoming national champions, and we had a great program. And I quickly realized that like it takes a different level of commitment to this thing. I got to put all my stuff into wrestling if I want to be that good. And I also really started falling in love with acting in college. And my freshman year going into sophomore year, home from college, I made a real decision. I was like, can't do it anymore. Wrestling, I'm gonna have to work my ass off to become a national, or even like start on this program. And so coming back, quit wrestling, moved to LA a couple months later, and just hit the ground running.
In college, was there a movie that transformed you? Where you saw a performance and you're like, you know what? Actually, this has been it. I know, the baloney.
No, it's all good. The baloney, man. Oh,
Here.
cured meats. Thank you, bro.
Wait a second. Since you hyped me up, I'm gonna hype Tanner up now.
Here we go.
Before all of this,
Oh, man, yeah, I left a big part out, didn't I?
yeah, you left quite a big part out. Before the wrestling, what was going on?
It was actually during the wrestling, but so at the
During?
same time, yeah. Dude, I started
College?
wrestling in second grade.
Oh, okay. I'm saying before the college thing.
Well, college wrestling, NCAA told me I couldn't. So, rewind. I kind of like popped off on Instagram in like high school. And for like no other reason than the algorithm in Instagram was like, if you take a nice photo of yourself and enough people like it at once, you will become Instagram famous. And that's what happened. Like there's this photographer that lived on the North Fork and like got this kid, Sean O'Donnell, on Tumblr really popular for being just like more or less an e-boy. I'm not gonna
Dance around
dance around it. I was a bit of an e-boy, and he took a photo of me when we all went wakeboarding. He took some photos of me. I got like 10,000 followers in an hour, or something crazy like that. And
Jeez.
It just started.
Good looking kid.
Thank you.
He doesn't
You're
need to
very
hear
kind.
that anymore.
It started
Snowballing from there.
snowballing from there, and it just became like it just took over. And I ended up having like 500,000 followers on Instagram in high school. Meanwhile, juggling this world of like being like a social media influencer and like going on these like having management companies come to me and I have brands coming out to me and like going like, we're gonna put you on a tour with the guys from MagCon. I swear I've been on these tours where I'm like signing autographs. Like, I love what you do. And I turn, I'm like, what do I do? Like, what do I do? Like, tell me what I do. And like, I love everything you do. You're so talented.
I love your work.
And I'm like sitting there and, it's super unfulfilling. I guess that kind of pushed me even deeper. So I went into that world for a second, and I found it to be incredibly unfulfilling. And honestly, at the time when you're in high school and like your bros are roasting you for posting, selfies, being like, I love Mondays. So, who likes my flannel? Comment if you like my flannel. I go from that and like having my once again also juxtaposing it with wrestling. And I just like got so turned off by that sense of pseudo fame and pseudo popularity that I just didn't post on Instagram for like 6 to 8 months and just leaned into wrestling for my senior year. Had a lot of success, went to college, and then college in the middle of college I was like, damn, that was a lot of money. And I could have made a lot of money with that. And then I fell in love with acting, and then I really just, whether consciously or not, wanted to like have like a resurgence of my artistic career in a place where I felt much more fulfilled. And that's where acting came in. And then screenwriting came in just by virtue of the fact that you're not always reading the best scripts. You're not always reading the best... Louis, you little son of a bitch.
Just knocked over the mic.
You're not always reading the best scripts.
Oh.
Hey, honey, it's okay, baby. reading the best scripts, and you're not always auditioning for the best stuff, and you're and most of all, you're not getting a lot of stuff in the beginning. You're going out. I went out, I think, the first year of me acting. I mean, I booked one of my first jobs ever, which was Lifetime Film, and then after that, I think I went on probably over 50 auditions with no callback. And I'm like, all my acting is done on self-tape or in audition rooms, and this is not good. And just by virtue of that, I sat down with a couple of buddies, and I met people like Conner and Spartan and a bunch of other people who I've gotten to be like, hey, let's write our own thing. And then it kind of started like, snowballing again from now. I've like kind of built this weird sort of reputation of being a writer now, just because I wanted to write something for me to act in that felt, fulfilling.
Yeah. Kind of like the Good Will Hunting boys.
I'm pretty much exactly like the Good Will Hunting boys, funny enough.
Yeah, correct.
Same.
We actually are nominated for an Oscar for this.
For this short project.
But that's how really it went down, is that I wanted to write things that I thought were funny. I wanted to write things that I felt like I could express myself acting-wise, because I wasn't getting the opportunities from, whether it's casting directors or studio heads or anything. And I that's how it all happened. And now here I am. And I'm, wrestling ended for me. And that was a huge transition in my life to get out. I think we all know that transition out of sports is a huge identity shift. And, when you have a
Big
sole focus on being successful in the sport, and that's your identity, and winning is everything. And if I don't win, I'm not anything. And then you go to something like acting, where it's not in your control, and you're going up against, hundreds, sometimes thousands of other actors, and it's left up to everybody else. You can do all the work in the world. You can get a fucking six-pack. You could be the best actor in the world. You could read every Shakespeare play frontwards and backwards, and you can do everything you need to do, and take every fucking intensive course, every acting class, and there's a chance you still won't work. Yeah. And that was something that was a super huge adjustment for me, because wrestling, if I work hard,
performance-based, yeah,
I'll fucking win.
Yeah.
And I don't care who I am. Like, if I beat you, I win. That's not how it works. Someone needs to choose if I win or not. And that was a huge adjustment for me too. But I've come to terms with that too. I think this strike has been really good for me too, just like being not result-based and just being process-based. But that's why writing's so much fun to roundabout.
Yeah, you can really feel all of what you're saying in your writing. And there's one line that I think describes it pretty well, which is, well, you can help me out here. It goes, hot dog, here we go.
Hot dog, here we go.
Hot dog.
Yeah, it's fun, dude. Writing's really fun. I feel really blessed to have someone like Conner in my life too, who has not only can provide a lot of opportunity for me with the aspect of like he gets opportunities and he brings me on to write for him, and the pendulum's gonna switch soon, baby. But Conner provides a lot of opportunity for me, and he gives me a lot of leeway to be able to do my thing and leave my fingerprint on our creative process, which is really fun.
Do it well.
And he's the fucking man too. He knows how to make things look good and sound good. Just sometimes he doesn't make me feel good. I gotta take a piss real quick, guys. You guys gotta take a quick break?
Yeah, completely. 100%. Will, you had a question, I think, for Colin, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, that works.
No, I was gonna, and I don't want to jump the gun here and spill any beans, but you guys have talked about, even taking this to another level of, there's an element of friendship that's involved in this, and just the raw love for it, for the art, and almost instead of sitting waiting around for brands to come to you or for Tanner, a casting call to go the right way, you guys have talked about, maybe joining forces and creating some sort of creative house where you can kind of bring all these, unique skilled talent people together.
I think I think most people who get into film and stuff always have the dream of being able to just solely work with their friends, and there's a few crews out there that do it really well and work 5 days a week on shoots, and they're all friends. Like, the production designer is dating the DP. Not like that, but like,
you want to date Tanner?
You know what I'm saying? Like, everyone gets brought together because they're all talented and they all get along and they all understand each other. And I think it's always been a dream of mine to sort of one day, I don't know if I want to be the director or whatnot, but I've read a few things, especially like this book called Creativity Inc. about Pixar, and how founders at Pixar were able to bring people together in a way that harvested creativity, harvested failure, harvested sort of all of the resilience and all of the trust it takes to make something great. And I've always been inspired by that, because working in the industry, I mean, I'm not going to say I'm jaded by any means, but I've been around the big business side of it.
For a long time.
Not for a long time, but for
your whole entire
for
career.
a good enough amount of time to
You were at
understand.
the highest level of your whole career, man.
Well, to understand that, like, it's more common than not for creatives to get suppressed, and for, and this is just the classic line, right? Like, but for the guys in the suits to be making decisions and the guys wearing the creative hats to listen to what they say. And not every company is like that, but I think a large, overwhelming sum of them are. So I think
That's why there's a strike.
yes, definitely.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think one day being able to bring all of our talented friends together so that we can win together is the goal. It has to be the goal.
And that's how all the guys did it. That's how all the guys did it. That's how Apatow did it. That's how PTA did it. That's how Tarantino did it.
You look at Adam Sandler, who I grew up on. You see the same 4
You've
or
been quoting
5
him all goddamn
people.
day.
Yeah, I mean, I could
It's the
quote him
best.
all day long. But no, it's really an element of team building. And there's like so many intangibles. And Robbie and I talk about this all the time. Now that we're employers, it's kind of an odd, feeling. I remember coming out of college and being like, here's my resume, who wants to hire me? And now being on kind of the other side of that, and we're like, wow, like we have this kind of foundation, this company, this, brand where we want to bring people along and give them ownership and, let people have different roles and create that team. And we look around and, I was talking to our other buddy, Karam, our other roommate, and we were talking about
Barry.
And we were talking about just like how odd that world is today. I think
Let's just keep trading these.
his girlfriend is just coming out of college, and it's such an odd time to find a job. No longer is it super important to have this crazy degree. It feels like almost disposable at this point. But I mean, to make a roundabout, I think what I'm getting at is it's all about team building, and you want to bring on people that understand the mission. There's very little maintenance with them. It's a gel thing. It's no different than in sport. The best teams aren't always the ones that are most talented. It's the ones that know how to work together, know their roles, know how to plug in, plug out, all that kind of stuff.
And the environment too. That's why it's interesting. Connor brought up the Pixar kind of ecosystem and what they created.
Right.
Like we talked about, like something like today, and like something like having an opportunity to like be able to make things with friends, and it's like creating an environment that's like we said, like more fruitful for the creative process, for people to be able to like not be afraid to do something dumb, for fear of like they're not going to think I'm talented, or for fear of like, oh man, that swing missed, or like this idea is going to fall flat. Like when you're with people who, like you guys, who create opportunity for friends, and the system is not made for people to win through the system. It's made for people to like combine forces and create teams to be able to win together. Like that's exactly what he's talking about. Like the white collar dudes that aren't the artists are the ones pulling the strings and picking these arbitrary reasons to let people work or to let them do their thing, and the rest of it is baloney. It should be you guys and like us doing our thing.
I also think about like
Rob, you're getting smoked right
I'm
now,
getting
buddy.
so smoked out. Like my nose is fully
Do you wanna move
clogged.
over here?
Yeah, probably.
You can
It's
do a
all
little
good.
adjustment.
You guys are chilling.
Want to throw another
Look at this.
vlog
The
on?
wind
Maybe?
will turn.
It'll
If
turn.
anyone's
Yeah, one
seen
sec.
the,
We're almost
the
wrapped.
Fablemans, there's that scene of like, sort of in the beginning when he first starts to fall in love with making movies, Spielberg that is,
Who?
there's a scene where it's like him and his friends in the like, it's like this Western thing, and there's the train, and they're all just shooting for fun. And I remember watching that like this year and just being like, God, like wouldn't it be so fun? I mean, selfishly fun for me. I don't know if my friends would enjoy acting or not, but wouldn't it be selfishly fun just to be able to get out there, get 30 people together and just shoot a scene like this and like have everyone work together and make something great? I don't know. I just think like that's something about film that's a little tough that I've struggled with, is sort of the fact that like it's not like, photography, still photography, where if you want to go shoot something for fun, you get one buddy out, or no one, and you get out there and you make art, you shoot some photos, see what works, see what doesn't. With film, it takes a level of commitment from kind of everyone involved, and there's certain things that you really just cannot do without manpower, right? And so it's kind of tough if you're interested in film to just go out there and like experiment and try stuff, because you do need subjects, you need people to act, and obviously there's tons of aspiring actors out there who would love to get in front of the camera at any time. But I guess my point is like having an environment and a group of friends like ours who get to be my friends and be my subjects and be my writers and, you know, co-directors and everything is pretty fucking awesome. And I just want to like, I don't want that to fall apart, and I don't want anyone to like, you know, have to get a new job because they can't keep doing what they're doing, because obviously the entertainment world's really tough. You never know when you're getting your next check. So, you know, if one day came the opportunity where I was in a position to bring them all together, and, you know, keep that train rolling, I think it'd be the dream, you know. That's more of a dream to me than making an Oscar-winning movie, I think.
Right.
Just sounds more sustainable.
I think what's so powerful about the medium of film is that it is such an incredible language because it combines all the arts. It combines photography and film. It combines acting, which is a different medium. It combines music and visual. It's just such a crazy art because it has such a dynamic nature to it. So that's what's always been fascinating to me about it. And to
you worked
be
in
able,
film too, yeah?
for a little bit. That was my first little entry point. That's what
Robbie
I thought
was
I
in a
wanted to
TV
do.
show.
Well, Tanman and I were talking about it. 'Cause he's like, "You ever been on a set?" I'm like, "You know what? I have been on a couple
I
sets."
could tell by the way you were talking. I was like, this guy's, he's labbing me up with the mics earlier, and I'm like, this guy's acting like he's been here.
I know, right? Going to get crafty bologna sandwiches.
No, dude. Yeah, but you were telling me about it.
But yeah, I mean, that was kind of my first love, was coming out of sport. My creativity was suppressed my entire life. And so I never really got to explore what I was interested in and what I wanted to create. And so that's why I've always looked up to you guys, because you do it full time. And Conner, with, you know, us growing up in Laguna together, I watched you on this early path, and it's been incredibly inspiring. I always hit you up like, "Hey, what do you think about this? What's the deal?" You're like, "Dude, keep going. You're crushing it." I'm like, "Okay, but I need some like critique here."
You are. No, you really are. And it's really, I mean, I didn't actually know that you were in film to begin with, but I do know that you've taught yourself everything, Robbie. And I can tell you that, like, you know, me asking you how you got that cool film effect is pretty crazy, because you figured it out, and like I've been doing this a lot longer, and you've crushed it. Like,
Thank you, brother.
people may not know that, like every video on the page so far has been you from A to Z, right?
Robbie's crazy with the camera. It always blows me away.
Yeah,
the
right,
editing,
Robbie, it is
too.
the whole brand, man. Like, you can really feel your fingerprint, both your fingerprints on it now. It's like we talk about, like, the intangibles of, like, the questions of, like, tell me what does it mean? What does Wilbo mean? It's like, those questions I find to be so difficult to answer. And I think for you guys, it's like you can't even describe it. It's like such an individual thing, like the fingerprint, like I said, like you guys leave such a strong fingerprint on what it means. And like, it's like so authentically California. It's just so fucking California, and you guys are doing such a great job. And
That's a good thing, right?
yeah, dude, California rules. It has everything. I mean, that's why the whole Mavericks of the Mountain thing works so well. And like, you guys are like making it.
We're trading glasses.
Man, you guys are doing it in a way that's so unique. And I think obviously you guys have a very good, you know, finger on the pulse when it comes to, finger on the pulse when it comes to fashion and whatnot. And you guys also being both ex-athletes, that's like such another interesting element to what it means, and like what connections you guys have. It's so funny we've all bonded over that.
I know,
too.
it's
And,
cool.
Did you guys? I have a question for you guys as athletes and like coming into like the creative field afterwards. Did you guys find a lot of similarities between athletics? Everyone always says yes, they want to hire athletes, but did you ever find that like you said that athleticism made you feel like you had to like kind of suppress your creative side of you? But do you think that maybe the environment of sports led you into a path of like, if I work hard, I can be successful. And then sometimes in this industry, it's like, I don't care how much you bang your head against the wall, like someone needs to open the door for you. And like, but I guess more or less, what parallels do you find from sports to to the creative industry, and how does that tie into Wilbo?
It's a great question. I think there are a lot of similarities. Just being committed to your craft, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's wrestling or baseball or football, being committed to that craft is really key. And so whether it's around filmmaking or learning how to make a garment, really, rooting yourself in the craft or the art itself to be able to become proficient in it.
Mm-hmm.
No different than learning a different move in wrestling, right? You're like, okay, cool, I got that. I can check that off. I think it's very similar in that regard. Will touched on it earlier, but surrounding yourself with the right team. Our second episode with our dad, we talked about people and it starting with people. And so that's always been a big one for us. And then I think another analogy too, and this goes back to filmmaking. You've seen it over and over, and I'm going to be driving home after this, and I'm going to be a campfire.
Your eyes are smoked. We're passing it back.
Passing it back. I think that
aesthetically, the campfire was a great idea,
Great
but
idea.
practically, this has been an
Practically.
absolute nightmare.
on par with the rest
But
of
it
the
looks so good,
That's
dude.
right.
You gotta. What is it? Art is pain. What is this? What is the whole thing?
I know, right?
Yeah.
So what I was going to say is similar to different, organizations within sport, you don't necessarily have to have the biggest budget to produce the best team or to win a championship. I mean, we saw it this year with the Rangers and the Diamondbacks making the World Series. And then with
Well,
film,
the Rangers have a big payroll. but
yeah,
that's
they
okay.
do. Yeah, you got it. My bad. Will's more of a sport buff than I am, but similar to filmmaking or the creative space as well. Our thing has always been that when it becomes too big of a project, when the budget is too big and there are too many kind of factors that play into it, you lose the point of it altogether.
Mm-hmm.
You lose sight of what you're actually trying to achieve. And for us, coming out initially, we didn't put a title on really anything because we wanted to leave enough room for discovery for our community.
Yeah.
Because it's a different thing to you than it is to Conner. And that's consistent across the board. And that's what we're inspired by, is just really kind of celebrating a lifestyle and a culture here in the West and doing that in a number of different ways that tie in themes such as sport, such as art and filmmaking, camping, right? Or at least attempting to camp.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the parallels from sport and the creative space are very interesting. I will say last thing on that is, growing up in locker rooms our whole lives, if you are, look at me, I'm freaking dying.
It's all good.
I didn't want to say it, but I saw
Yeah.
it.
If you challenge status quo in a way, whether it's through fashion or through how you act, right? People will question your sexuality at times. People are like, "Are you femme? Are you like, what's the deal here?"
Oh, like
you're-
sport. Oh, dude, that was the only thing I heard.
Exactly,
Yeah.
right? And so it's really interesting because it's like, yeah, for sure, dude.
It's just fun.
And it doesn't
one
matter.
track minded in those locker
It
rooms
is.
can be very. And it makes you think that like, that's really what I was really asking. I mean, like we all know like the aspects of sport that can be so helpful towards like motivation and knowing how to pivot and know how to make things work. But I think sometimes those environments can not be conducive for people to be. I mean, at least I found out in wrestling a lot. There's like the idea of being. Sorry to tie this back in, but to
No.
be like a maverick and be like a different, creatively different person and kind of stray away from the pack and being
Right.
an individual, they'll check you and they'll
Yeah.
be like, dude, what the fuck is that, man? What's
Yeah.
with that? Why?
Get in line,
Dude,
basically.
they literally. I have to call out my team because this was it was hurtful and it sucked but it was like in the spirit of roasting and you got to take it on the chin. But they like pulled up YouTube videos I made when I was in high school at our like first like luncheon for our
Initiation or
team
whatever, yeah.
with our coaches there, and we like hired a new coach on staff and like I was just getting to know him and I wanted to like earn my keep and like really get to know the team, and like a bunch of kids on the team like decided to like go on the TV and turn on like a cringe ass YouTube video I made when I was 16 and play it for everybody, and everyone's sitting there and the coaches are watching it like not laughing, just like, and I'm like, and that's like a moment where I'm like, God damn, like I can't win with these people.
You're
Like,
different. Yeah.
Not only am I different, like this is like so different that they think I'm like a fucking alien
Yeah.
and like the cringiest guy they've ever met, and there's no redeeming myself past that. And it was one of those moments I was like, I think it's in every group. I think there's just like when you're different, so like vague, but like when you're an outlier and you're doing something that's like I guess, could be deemed as, you know, against the. No, I'm good, bro. Thank you. Your eyes are too fucked. When you're doing something
Connor's
that's like
getting it now.
against, you're doing it like against something that's like against the culture of what it is, or against the culture of potentially even like what masculinity means in those weird worlds. You can get fucking blasted by these dudes, and it was hurtful, and it sucked, and I think about it often. I'm like, dude, that. I felt like sometimes there's a part of me that like even going to play sports in college took like years off my life creatively, because I remember seeing pictures of like my fashion sense going into college, and then the way I dressed when I was around my team, I literally started just like dressing like them because I didn't like the fact that because it hurt too bad to feel different. And to be called all those names, you know, no matter what, like whether you like it's true or not, like you're getting roasted by these guys, and everywhere you go, they're like, oh, there's this fucking Instagram kid, Tanner. Why don't you go post a selfie, you fucking douche? And you're just like, can't win, and also I can't take that back. Like I'm here with you guys. You don't think I'm committed? Like I'm literally on this team with you, and I'm here to do it with you. Like
they like discount you.
You don't think I'm committed to this?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, but you guys grew up in LA, so I guess maybe it was a little different. I was in Pittsburgh.
I experienced somewhat of a similar thing. I think my teammates weren't as maybe harsh, but, you know, I'd catch a stray like back in the day when I was, you know, 2016, 2017, the wave was skinny jeans. No one on the baseball team was wearing skinny jeans. I'd show up and they're like, is there a flood coming? You know, you'd catch those like stray, just like comments. And it was a hard thing to navigate for me too, because the easy thing to do is just conform and to just, you know.
Especially at like 19 years old, you're like, God, all I want to do is just like not even be like an outlier. I just want to blend in.
Yeah, I just
let me blend in and let me
me
not be the one that's like getting like picked on.
For sure. And on top of that too, like I came from a really small high school. We played, you know, 900 kids in our school. Played Division IV. It wasn't anything special, but you know, we won a championship, so I thought I was all macho. And then you get to UCLA, this campus where, you know, there's 35,000 kids. Everyone on that team was the best kid on their team, and all of a sudden,
best kid in their county. You know?
You're looking around and you're like, oh, I'm not special. And on top of that, I'm getting roasted for wearing what I'm wearing, and so
being where I'm from,
and being interested in other things. You know, like I loved making music back then. I loved, you know, I lived with Conner at that point. I loved kind of just that whole world, and I knew it was something out after sports that it was something I wanted to dive into. But it was almost like for 4 years I had to kind of compartmentalize it and just kind of almost suppress it, like Robbie was saying.
Yeah, don't bring that stuff up, man, because you're going to bring it up. And then
I want to say, though, sorry to interrupt.
No,
I want to say that I'm seeing small or big, but some sort of like, not reform, but definitely some people in the sports community. You know, I think of like just those photos of like, what do you call it when like the walk to the locker room?
Oh, league fits and
league
stuff.
fits.
The league fits and like, you know, guys like I'm a big Formula One fan, and like Lewis Hamilton is, you know, whatever, one of the best racers of all time. He's the only one who dresses up.
Earrings,
I mean, there's one other guy too, but
he's a tastemaker.
yeah, it's like there's these people who are like, you know, getting like props for it, and I think that's really cool, and I hope that goes.
I agree.
As
I
far
think
as
that's a
it can
great
go.
point.
I think it helps your sports too.
Yeah, I think
being yourself and being
just
individual.
expression, right?
The
It's like you look
landscape's
like
changing.
Dennis Rodman too. Like
The man, like
The man.
the way Lewis put it is like if you want to be, if you want to perform the best on track, he says like you want to be the most comfortable and you want to be the most confident. So he's like, you better believe I'm fucking walking up to that track, feeling fly as fuck.
Yeah.
You know, like and like call that art, whatever, call it expression, but I think that's something.
Most definitely.
And I think like it's obvious to say, but you know, the more that's muted, even in the sports community, it's like, what are we doing?
You're seeing
So true.
the landscape change. You know, even as something as simple as mental health being.
Yeah.
You know, they provide mental health coaches, and that's such a bigger presence. And I think where the divide maybe is, Tanner and I and Robbie played very masculine sports, very blue collar, very head in the mud, like. So I think we experience maybe a heightened version of that, whereas, you know, Formula One is very classy, tennis is very classy,
golf,
you know, all those sports. But, you know, that goes to show, like you're saying, there is kind of this renaissance of like expression, which
I
I
hope so.
love, and especially in sport, because sport is the ultimate storytelling, because it's not scripted, and the things that happen are, you can't believe your eyes, because you're like, how is this not scripted?
Yeah.
So there's an element to it that it just makes so much sense to have these individuals within the sport.
Yeah, I think it's counterintuitive to create those kind of cultures. And like, yeah, I also think that we played sports at different times than now. I think in the past 4 years since I stopped wrestling, I think things have changed so much. I think for you guys playing football and baseball, things have changed so much that it's you know,
Big
when
time.
you see it, it's really exciting. But when you're in it, it's especially when you're a young man, a freshman in college, for instance, like you're like so fish out of water and still like so not sure of who you are and so not confident in your own skin that just like one comment or like one roasting and one like everyone going to a party and for some reason not texting you to come, one of those moments can just like shift your creative spirit. And it sounds, you know, woo-woo, but it is. And it was hard, and I'm excited to see the new realm of sports. I think we're going to see better sports as people can express themselves more, and you see it with like people like Israel Adesanya. Like I follow MMA a lot, so forgive me. It's pretty much all I know.
Adesanya's
You
the
see, like
man.
Adesanya, the man. You see all these guys who like, or like Sean O'Malley. These guys who are just like these big eccentric characters, not afraid to say how they feel, not afraid to say something stupid, not afraid to dress crazy, and then they go out there and they kick ass because they're being themselves. And like, there's no world where like. There's just like, and you just like envy those people, and I think that those are the type of people that like, you know, you guys stand for, and like what we want to see in this realm of like, especially transitioning of like, I think a lot of athletes want to be artists, and a lot of artists want to be athletes, and I think all you hear is artists talk going like being obsessed with tennis and golf, and all they do is watch sports, and they're obsessed with sports, and all these sports guys are low key like super cinephiles and really into music and painting and all this stuff, and it's. You know, I think it's important to bridge these gaps, and it's important to have these conversations because it can fucking stink when you're in those worlds and you're like, man, I can't just cuff my jeans a little. Let me cuff my jeans, man.
Conner and I talk about that though. Is like,
I don't cuff my jeans anymore. By the way, just 2019.
We gravitate towards people that are very individualistic and very comfortable, you know, in self-expression. I think, you know, like you were saying, it's easy to see figures like that. But the minute Adesanya gets knocked out or loses, then you see the comments of
clowning
like,
him.
Clowning
Go
him.
paint your nails again, you fucking pussy. You know what I mean? It's like, bro, what? Give this guy a break. Like, you just loved him.
Totally.
But it's those types of pioneers in business, in sport, in politics. Like even, I don't love talking politics because it can be very divisive, but people that are just free thinkers, people that, you know, they dabble in this, you know, that this is an ideal, I believe, that maybe aligns with a certain party. This isn't like, there's no just like, I'm on one team, like I root for the New York Yankees and I hate that side, you know, it's more just like individual thinkers. And I know that's kind of a wild analogy there, but
like the jocks, the whole, even like the jock and nerd or jock and art kid idea is like, you just see it so often now that these guys are like, or all these people that grow old and then they're working their desk jobs and they look at you and they go like, you know, I always wanted to be a painter. And then you see their drawings, you're like, what happened? It's
Right.
like my coach told me that it's like either I'm going to be a national champ or I'm going to be a painter and I better choose. And it's like, I don't think that I think the world's obviously varying, like leaning away from that. And that feels really, really positive. And I love to see that now. And I also, you know, I feel bad. You know, I'm pissed. Sometimes I get pissed at myself that I was so easily influenced by that shit instead of just being like, all right, fine. I'm gonna be really good at this. I'm gonna be really good at that, and I'm gonna have a lot of fun doing both. And whatever you think, or like the whole idea of like, don't care what people think. How many times do you fucking hear that and you're like, yeah, try
Yeah,
it.
it's hard.
Try not caring what they think.
What's funny is I said it today to a girl who sent a video to me, Courtney, and she was like, I sat on this video for a week, like I had imposter syndrome. I was like, fuck, the hardest thing about life and art is committing to not caring what other people think. And it's the hardest thing ever, you know?
It's impossible. It's just
impossible.
the pursuit of it. And like, yeah, man, you know, it's everything. And I think it's the idea of like, you're going to care what people think, but don't let that change the way you act.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, it's, you know, taking the good with the bad and, you know, just growing.
Or like the acceptance of the fact that if I know I'm going to care what people think, but it's not going to affect what happens right now, and I'm still going to be myself, I think even just like the acceptance of it makes it go away. Because you can't pretend like you don't care. You have to go, okay, I care.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm still going to do my thing.
Right.
Yeah, that hurts when people don't like it. Yeah, it's, you know,
Fuels you though. You know?
I'm not that good at wrestling anymore. Like these kids were so fucking good. The kid I trained with was a national champ, and I was training with this guy, and I'm like, and he ended up winning nationals the senior year. Nino Bonacorsi, shout out. You guys should get him on Wilbo, dude. He just graduated college. He's a free agent. But he absolute hammer, and I'm training with him. And I'm like, once again, I came from being the male. I was a state champ in New York, and I come there and I'm meeting 3-time Pennsylvania state champs, which is like a different game. This guy's beating the shit out of me, and you're like, this identity shift of like, whoa, maybe I'm not that good at this, or maybe I'm not supposed to be a national champ. Maybe that's not supposed to be me.
Yeah, it's a really good conversation. It's cool, as Conner said, that the tables are turning, the landscape's shifting, and I think we're only going to see more of it with what's happening with NIL deals and the whole thing, for better or for worse, right? But the landscape of sport is shifting. The landscape, especially in, call it entertainment, is shifting. That's what's going on right now. And I think I get to put a cherry on the top on this one, because we're in need of shooting one more scene. The boys are.
Yeah.
We said we were going to go on for 40 minutes, but it's been about an hour 10, I think. So
that's perfect.
We'll wrap it up.
Got to edit out some of the dumb shit we said.
No, not at all. It'll be perfect.
There's something in there.
Raw, uncut.
But all in all, just inspired by you guys and what you do. Keep going. And we're just very lucky and grateful to call you friends. And also inspirations for us. I mean, what you guys are doing is epic. So keep rolling.
Yeah, to be able to.
I don't like hearing that. Don't compliment me like that, man. Thank you guys. You guys giving us this opportunity is huge, and thank you. I mean, likewise.
It's so fun to just come together and create, and there's a lot of improv that goes on, but that's where the best nuggets come from. So I've had a blast. Hopefully we can knock this scene out so we don't freeze.
Yep. Let's do it again.
Yeah. Let's run it
See
again.
you guys next time, right?
See you next time.
Yeah.
Right on, guys. Thank you so much.
See you next time.
Cheers.
Thank you.